My name is Daniel, though if you ask my cousin Chloe, she'd probably tell you that Daniel didn't really fit me. She'd laugh and say I looked more like a Danny, or sometimes, when she was feeling playful, she'd call me her doll. I always brushed it off, because what else could I do? Chloe had been teasing me like that since we were kids, ever since that one summer afternoon when she convinced me to try on one of her princess costumes for a game of make-believe. I must have been 10 years old, embarrassed out of my skin, but the way she clapped her hands and said, "See? You look perfect," had planted a seed I couldn't quite dig out of my heart. Now, more than a decade later, I was still haunted by that seed. Crossdressing was my secret. A secret I told no one, not my parents, not my friends, and definitely not Emma, my girlfriend. To Emma, I was dependable, a little quiet but stable. The kind of guy you could build a future with. And, in many ways, that was true. But there was another side of me. One that came alive only when the house was empty and the closet door creaked open, revealing carefully folded skirts, hidden heels, and a little box of makeup I'd learned to apply through countless YouTube tutorials at 3 a.m. I told myself it wasn't serious, that it was just a way to unwind, a guilty thrill I could box away whenever real life demanded it. Yet the older I got, the harder it became to lie to myself. Every time I zipped up a dress and caught my reflection in the mirror, I felt a strange mix of freedom and shame. It was as if I'd stumbled into a version of myself I both craved and feared. Emma didn't know. She couldn't know. She was kind, funny, and far more outgoing than I was. We'd been together for almost 2 years, and she had dreams. Dreams of moving in together, of saving for a little apartment in the city, of meeting each other's families more often. She saw me as her partner in all of it. But I knew if she found out about my secret, that image she had of me would shatter. Our story begins in my aunt's house, where I was staying for a week while Emma went on a short work trip. My cousin Chloe, now 18, bold and mischievous, was there too. We hadn't spent much time together in recent years, but the moment she saw me, that same playful gleam lit her eyes. She hadn't changed a bit. "Daniel," she said, grinning as she leaned against the doorway to the guest room I was unpacking in. Or should I say, Danny? I froze. The old nickname. I laughed it off, pretending it meant nothing, but my heart skipped a beat. "What are you talking about?" I said, shaking my head. "Oh, don't play dumb. You still remember that summer, don't you? When I dressed you up like my doll?" Her grin widened. "You looked so good, you know. I still have pictures." She didn't. At least, I prayed she didn't. But Chloe wasn't the kind of girl to bluff lightly. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't shake the feeling that she'd seen straight through me. And when she knocked on my door the next morning, carrying a bundle of clothes in her arms, my fears were confirmed. "Come on," she said cheerfully. "Let's play dress up again." I stared at her, stunned. She was serious. "This is ridiculous," I muttered, shaking my head. "We're not kids anymore." She pouted, then leaned closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Don't tell me you're scared." It was a challenge, and Chloe knew me too well. She knew that under my careful, quiet exterior, I hated backing down from a dare. Worse, she knew how to press the exact buttons that had always left me vulnerable. I should have refused. I should have told her no and shut the door. But instead, I hesitated. My mind flashed back to my hidden stash of clothes at home, to the private world I only allowed myself to indulge in behind locked doors. Here was Chloe, offering it to me without judgment, as if it was nothing more than a game between cousins. And maybe that was what made me agree. "Fine," I said finally, my voice low. "But just for a little while." Her eyes sparkled with victory as she held out the dress. A soft, pastel-colored thing that looked like it belonged in a boutique window. That was the beginning. The moment that cracked open the door to everything that followed. Because once I slipped into that dress, Chloe wouldn't let me go back. And deep down, a part of me didn't want to. The dress Chloe handed me felt impossibly soft between my fingers. Satin, pale lilac, delicate in a way that made my chest tighten. I stared at it like it was dangerous, because in a way it was. One wrong move, one word out of place, and Emma would know. Emma would see the side of me I had buried so carefully, and everything we'd built would unravel. But Chloe stood there, arms crossed, daring me to slip into it. "You promised," she said with a smirk. "Besides, I know you're curious." I wanted to argue, to laugh it off, to tell her she was crazy. But my throat closed up. My hands were already trembling as they clutched the fabric. The guest room became a cocoon of silence as I turned away, sliding the dress over my head. The sensation was overwhelming, silky fabric gliding down my skin, the faint scent of Chloe's perfume clinging to it, the whisper of femininity that made my knees weak. When I finally turned to face her, Chloe's grin widened. "Oh, Danny," she whispered. "I knew it. You haven't changed one bit." Heat rushed to my face. I wanted to tear the dress off, but Chloe clapped her hands before I could move. Wait. You can't stop there." From behind her back, she produced a small makeup bag. "No," I said firmly, panic shooting through me. "Yes," she countered, eyes gleaming. "You agreed to play. And if we're playing, you're doing it properly." I should have stopped her. But Chloe had always had a way of controlling the room, of sweeping me into her pace until I was drowning in it. And as she pushed me into the chair by the vanity, I felt that old helplessness, the same helplessness I'd felt at 10 years old when she'd crown me in plastic tiaras and glittery lip gloss. The brush against my skin was electric. Powder, foundation, the careful tug of eyeliner. Chloe hummed as she worked, like an artist lost in her canvas. Every stroke chipped away at Daniel, revealing someone else in the mirror. When she pulled out a wig, a shoulder-length chestnut piece I hadn't seen before, I flinched. "Where did you even get that?" I demanded. "Don't worry about it," she said slyly, settling it onto my head. "Just look." I looked. The mirror showed a stranger, and yet not a stranger at all. The blush on my cheeks softened my jawline. The wig framed my face perfectly. The lilac dress hugged my body in ways that made my heart race. I should have been horrified. Instead, I felt a pulse of excitement that made my chest ache. Chloe leaned against the wall, arms folded. "Admit it. You like it." My lips parted, but no sound came. She smiled knowingly. "Don't worry. It's just between us." Her words should have comforted me, but instead they struck like a warning. Just between us. Because I knew if Emma ever found out, it wouldn't just be a game. It would be the end. The next few days blurred into a dangerous rhythm. Chloe made it a daily ritual, dragging me into her room, selecting outfits, teaching me how to walk in heels, how to hold myself with a different kind of grace. And each day, I told myself it would be the last. That I'd say no tomorrow. That I'd put the clothes away and reclaim myself. But tomorrow never came. One evening, as Chloe zipped me into a floral sundress, my phone buzzed on the nightstand.
"Emma."
I snatched it up, heart hammering. "Hey love, flight got moved up. Might be home earlier than planned. Can't wait to see you two hearts." My blood ran cold. Chloe leaned over my shoulder, reading the text. "Oh," she murmured, clearly delighted. "Guess the game just got interesting." I spun toward her. "Chloe, I have to stop this. If she comes back and sees me like this." "She won't," Chloe interrupted smoothly. "Relax. We'll have plenty of time to change you back." But her tone was too casual, too unconcerned. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emma walking through the door, her expression twisting in shock as she saw me in Chloe's dress. I told myself it was insane, that I'd end it tomorrow, that Chloe would understand. Yet when morning came, Chloe was already waiting, a new outfit laid out across the bed. "Today," she said with a grin, "we try heels." The sight of them, a pair of nude stilettos, sent a shiver down my spine. "I can't," I whispered. "You can," she replied. "And you will." And so I did. The first step was agony. Awkward, shaky, humiliating. But Chloe clapped like I'd just crossed a finish line. "See," she said brightly, "you're a natural." I wanted to hate her for the way she smiled at me, but instead, I felt a pang of gratitude. Because beneath her teasing, She wasn't mocking me. She was encouraging me. That terrified me more than anything. Because the more she encouraged me, the harder it became to imagine going back. The texts from Emma grew more frequent. She missed me. She couldn't wait to be home. Each message was like a ticking clock in my head. And still, I couldn't stop. One afternoon, as I practiced walking in heels down the hallway, my phone rang. Emma's face lit up the screen, FaceTime. Panic shot through me. I scrambled, nearly tripping in the heels, as Chloe hissed with laughter. Answer her, Chloe whispered. Come on. It'll be fun. Are you insane? I hissed back, fumbling with the wig. But the phone stopped ringing before I could decide, leaving me breathless, drenched in sweat. This was madness. And yet, when Chloe handed me a lipstick and said, "Try this shade, it's perfect for you," I found myself obeying. That night, as I wiped off the makeup in the bathroom, I stared at my reflection. My real reflection. Daniel. Plain, ordinary, safe. But I couldn't ignore the faint outline of the woman I'd been an hour before, the one Chloe called Danny. For the first time, I wondered if Emma would even recognize me anymore. And worse, I wondered if I wanted her to. The game was no longer just a game. By the third night, Chloe had me seated at the vanity again, but this time, she was meticulous. A red dress with a plunging neckline, bold lipstick, jewelry that sparkled in the lamplight. I stared at myself in the mirror, stunned by how far we'd gone. "This is insane," I muttered. "This is perfect," Chloe corrected. "You're finally starting to look like you." Her words lodged in my chest like a hook. Like me. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed again. Emma. A text. Flight moved again. Might land tomorrow morning instead of night.
Hope that's okay.
Tomorrow. My stomach lurched. If she came home tomorrow, there was no margin for error. Chloe read the message over my shoulder, her grin turning devilish. "So tonight is our grand finale." "Chloe, no," I whispered. "We have to stop. I have to clean everything. Put all this away before she comes back." But Chloe was already pulling me to my feet, ignoring my panic. "Relax, Danny. We've got time."
Time.
That was the word ringing in my head when the doorbell suddenly chimed. Both of us froze. Chloe's eyes widened. I wasn't expecting anyone. The bell rang again, sharper this time. Panic surged through me. What if it's her? What if she came back early? "Emma doesn't ring the bell," Chloe whispered, pushing me toward the hallway. "She has a key. Chill." But my legs felt like jelly. I couldn't be seen like this. Not by anyone. "Go to the bedroom," Chloe hissed.
Now.
I stumbled down the hall, heels clicking traitorously against the floor. I nearly tripped twice before throwing myself into the bedroom and shutting the door. From the other side, muffled voices drifted in. Chloe's. And another, male. I pressed my ear against the wood, heart pounding. It was a neighbor. He'd come to borrow something. Minutes stretched like hours as I stood there, makeup smudging under nervous sweat, wig slipping slightly askew. If the door opened, if anyone so much as peeked, I'd be destroyed. Finally, the voices faded. The door shut. Silence. I collapsed onto the bed, gasping. Chloe appeared a moment later, smirking. "See? Easy."
Easy.
I snapped, voice trembling. I almost had a heart attack. "You looked amazing, though," she teased, tugging the wig straight. I wanted to scream at her, but my throat tightened. Because deep down, beneath the terror, she wasn't wrong. I had looked amazing. And that was the problem. Later that night, I stood in front of the mirror alone. Chloe had gone to bed, but I couldn't sleep. The red dress shimmered in the moonlight. My lipstick was still perfect, my lashes long and dark. For the first time, I whispered the name aloud. Danny. The sound sent shivers down my spine. But the fantasy shattered when my phone lit up again.
Emma.
This time, not a text. A call. FaceTime. My chest seized. I couldn't answer. Not like this. The phone buzzed, then stopped. A second later, a new message popped up. "Babe, why didn't you answer? Are you okay?" My hands shook so hard the phone nearly slipped. I scrubbed at the makeup with a tissue, smearing it into a nightmare of colors, tore at the wig, peeled myself out of the dress. By the time I collapsed onto the bed, I looked like a ghost of both Daniel and Danny, caught between two worlds. And in the silence, one thought wouldn't leave me. What if Emma already suspects? The next morning, Chloe was already scheming. "Last day," she said brightly, tossing a sequined dress onto the bed. "We go out with a bang." I stared at her in horror. "Out? You mean outside?" She grinned. "Chloe, no. If anyone sees me, then they'll see a gorgeous woman. Danny deserves one real day before you crawl back into your shell." I shook my head. My voice cracked. "Emma will be here tonight. I can't. It's too risky." But even as I said it, my eyes drifted to the sequins, catching the sunlight. A part of me, the part one couldn't kill, ached to put it on. That night, the house was too quiet. Chloe had gone out, leaving me alone. I tried to pack everything away, to bury Danny before Emma came home. But the sequin dress lay across the bed like a dare. I lasted 20 minutes before giving in. When I slipped it over my body, the transformation was instant. The shimmer, the weight, the whisper of fabric against my skin. It swallowed me whole. I caught my reflection in the mirror and froze. Not Daniel. Not at all. Danny. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I was playing. I felt real. So real that when the sound of a key turning in the lock echoed through the house, my blood turned to ice.
Emma.
She was home, and I was standing in the middle of the bedroom, fully transformed, with nowhere to hide. The sound of the key sliding into the lock was louder than thunder. I froze, every nerve in my body screaming. The sequin dress clung to me like a trap. My makeup was flawless, my wig perfectly in place, and my heels pinned me to the spot like nails in the floor. The door opened. "Daniel?" Emma's voice floated in, warm and casual, like nothing was wrong, like she was just coming home to her boyfriend. My heart slammed so hard it hurt. I looked around the room in desperation. There was no time to change. No time to wipe away the red lipstick. No time to peel off the dress. Her suitcase wheels rattled across the floorboards. "Surprise," she called. "My last flight got canceled, so I came straight home." Her footsteps grew closer. I pressed myself against the wall, breathing like I'd run a marathon. Maybe I could slip into the bathroom. Maybe I could throw a blanket around myself. The bedroom door swung open. And there she was.
Emma.
Her smile froze mid-word, her suitcase handle slipping from her hand as her eyes swept over me. The sequined dress glittered under the light, betraying every secret I had tried to bury. My lipstick caught the glow. The wig framed my face in perfect curls. Neither of us moved. Neither of us spoke. The silence stretched, thick and suffocating. I could see every emotion flicker across her face, confusion, disbelief, and something darker rising behind her eyes. My throat worked, but no sound came. "Daniel," she whispered finally, voice low and sharp. Her tone wasn't angry. That made it worse. It was careful. Dangerous. I stepped forward, hands trembling. "Emma, I..." The words died as my reflection caught in the mirror behind her. For the first time, I saw it clearly. Danny standing there, shimmering, confident, terrified. And Daniel, the man Emma thought she knew, was gone. Emma's gaze followed mine to the mirror. Her lips parted, but she didn't speak. I could feel the air tightening between us, like the moment before glass shatters. And then she took a step closer.
"Explain," she said.
Just one word.
"Low."
Final. The clock on the wall ticked loudly. My heart pounded louder. Should I lie? Should I tell her it was Chloe's game, that it was all a joke? Or should I admit the truth, that Danny wasn't a game anymore? I opened my mouth, and the screen went black.